over halfway done with the build. Of course, we ran into kind of a rare technical issue that I'd always heard people having, but I'd never actually experienced for myself with the Lego set. The issue is that this sticker is cut very, very, very off center, and I'll show you all what I mean right here. You can see Spider-Man is anything but centered in that image there, and it's really weird. It's cutting off one of his shoulders. I've always heard of people having these kinds of sticker cut issues with Lego sets. This is one of the first times I've ever had that much of a dramatic issue with it. It's not a huge problem, but it's big enough to where I do think it warrants me getting a replacement sticker for that from Lego. So definitely something I'll probably be contacting Lego about in the next couple of days. And the great thing is there's no concern about if they'll help because Lego is probably the very best when it comes to customer service, when it comes to making sure that you're satisfied and sending replacement parts. They're all about it. So I have absolutely no reservations that they're going to help. They've helped me many, many times over much less. So I'm not too worried about that. Let me readjust the angle here so we can see more of the build. Let's raise our camera up a little. And that was the sound of an Alien Queen toy that I had, so don't be alarmed. That was, it went off, so there we go. Not something I expected. All right, let's get that angle a little bit better. All right, let's continue. So I think this first part of this bag is just going to be finishing off some of the top of this thing, and then once we have that level done, we'll add it to the overall height of the tower. This is one of those sections of the build where you have a bunch of these and you have to be very specific about how many studs are on each one. So it's kind of a nauseating task to count out each one and make sure it's all perfect. Right. I've been kind of curious about which step that will actually get the Spider-Man minifig on, and I was going through some of the bags and happened to sort of accidentally discover that I think Spider-Man is in the very final bag. So really making you work for getting that Spider-Man minifig. He is at the very end, like it's the very last thing you do. So I don't know, it's kind of cool though, in a way. Give some importance to it, maybe. All right. That's better. Hopefully we can see it a tad easier this way. The other way there was nothing coming through. And maybe I ran off all my viewers. I'm not gonna watch a Lego live stream if I can't see any of it. So, good reasoning. They're not wrong. I suppose these are the kind of modular connection points so that this will be able to lift in and out fairly easily. So that's always cool. Hey man, how's it going? There it is. All right, so we've got our smooth plates on the top. And looks like we get to make another one of those little like outside lights. Awesome. Have you gotten any of the new sets that have come out on June 1st? Lego finally got me the Chamber of Secrets set, which I'm pretty excited about. It looks terrific. It has been a long time since I built a Harry Potter set, so I'm looking forward to it. I love the way that they make this little light. This is great. It's like I always say, the micro builds are really where it's at with these things. Assembly square. Yep, that would be, I would think, very wise. Whoops. That'd be very wise on your part, considering that I do believe it will be retired very soon. And definitely by the end of the year, I think Assembly Square is probably on its last hurrah right now. You know how Lego will usually do that final production run. And after a few years of being in the hobby, like, you kind of get that sense of when that is. It's kind of where I feel like Assembly Square is right now. Of course, it's kind of weird that they did with some of the ideas sets. They did like a final production run in a way that I really don't think I'd seen them do before. And that was particularly of note with the Treehouse set and the Ship in a Bottle. However, I think once this last little run is gone on those, I do think they're over with after that. And this could be a case where they had some extra stock from somewhere else. Of course, I have seen it before to where overseas or in the European market, yeah. Yeah, most of the time, I've had good luck with Amazon and sets. I don't know if there's any way for me to tell this or not, or like be sure about this, but I'm nearly positive that I was the very last person to ever purchase the Helm's Deep set from Amazon proper, like from Amazon themselves. It was really weird. This from the, of course, Lord of the Rings sets. And I remember it had been retired and had been out of stock for some time, and I had all the stock checkers, you know, going and looking at all that. I think Now in Stock, I think, was the name of the website. And I was furiously like refreshing, and I just kept thinking that if I just kept refreshing the page that more would show up. And randomly one day there was literally just one that shown up in stock, almost like, and this was months after it had retired, and I have no idea why I thought that one would show up, but it did, from Amazon proper. not like a seller on Amazon. And I'll never really know how that worked, but it did. I didn't question it. So I guess sometimes you just luck out. That was probably the last Helm's Deep set that Amazon proper ever sold. Now, I'll tell you who does mistreat large Lego sets, and I was shocked by this practice. And I think this was probably just employee ignorance more than it was purposeful maliciousness. But it was at my Target. I went there and I got the Hogwarts Express set a little while back. And before they handed it to me, they put a giant sticker on it that was supposed to be like a sticker handle for a big box, like a plastic like handle that was applied with an adhesive. It sounds goofy, but they put it on there, and that sticker, it really tore up the outer box. Like, it took the graphic right off of it. And thankfully, I didn't really care because I don't collect the boxes whatsoever. I throw the boxes away. But it made me think, because it damaged the box like irreparably. It made me think, if I was one of these people that like saves the boxes, I would have been really mad. So that may seem petty, but yeah, I'll tell you what that is. And there is an option on Amazon proper that says hassle-free packaging. And if you choose hassle-free, that's what they'll do. They will not put an outer box on it. That is considered the shipping box. So what you want to do is make sure that they have standard in stock. And sometimes Lego will actually, for some reason or another, only have hassle-free as a stock option. And I'm just as clueless on why as anybody else would be. It's like they only allocate so many to be sold certain ways, I guess. But it makes no sense. I don't know. And all I know is that I don't want it, to be jostled around, and I want some kind of protection for my set. But I've never had that happen because I've never been in the situation to where I had to choose the hassle-free packaging option. All right. But you're right, though, to be concerned about that, because that is a thing. Hopefully that illuminates it a little for you. You might have already known that. So we're going to expand the Daily Bugle even more now. Definitely increase the height. All right. Stick on there. See how secure those modular connections are? Oh, yeah. Now this thing is getting way up here. So much so that I probably need to be thinking about how I'm going to properly show this from here on out. I did not expect it to get this tall at such an early stage, or what feels like an early stage, because look, we're going on up. I'm gonna have to get a stack of encyclopedias or something here. Wow, this is as vertical as it gets. Surprised. Okay. And then this is really surprising too. Check this out. It's a little like balcony area around the back. I did not know that that was going to be a thing, and that's where that door leads out to. Wow. This is epic. Okay. You can read the heights of this stuff all day, and but until you see it, until you have it right in front of you, you have no idea what that's actually going to be like. Now I'm trying to think of ways that I'm going to be able to display this, or should I say more accurately, not be able to display this. Okay, let's come back down to earth here for a second. And I believe we're going to be building the breakaway window, the facade. Of course, it's not an action feature. It is just a brick-built exploding window for the Green Goblin. And this looks really cool, but I have heard that it's kind of aggravating to put together, that it, it's the kind of thing that it maybe falls apart on you as you're trying to build it. It's okay though. Let's see what we got. All right. Exactly. I've never had too much problem with porch pirates in my area. I live in kind of a small little patch of suburbia, so usually my neighbors are pretty good. We're all kind of looking out. I know that's not going to hold out forever. It's not exactly the best security system. But then, some people are doing the whole Amazon locker thing, where they're picking it up at like Whole Foods, right? And last time I was in Whole Foods, there was a Amazon locker set up, which might be a good idea, if it's a big problem in your neighborhood. People are becoming incredibly bold about just walking right up and just grabbing something, which I love watching those videos on YouTube where they put the glitter bombs in the packages. And then they put like a camera in there to take a picture of. And what's I think kind of disturbing about it is, you'll see the guy who stole the package or whatever, and I don't know, they seem kind of normal, or at least by appearance anyway. You wouldn't really think of them as some kind of vagabond or something like that. But I don't know, it's points to some real moral depravity. I would understand if somebody was trying to survive or something like that, but this is just like, oh look, it's a Amazon box. I wonder what could be in that. Maybe I should take that. Like, it astounds me that people are that morally bankrupt, but you know what? I guess I'm just blessed that I was, raised in a good environment. Maybe if I wasn't, things would be a lot different. Still no excuse though. Got no patience for it. Nor should you. I watched the first few minutes of the Lego Ninjago movie last night, and I think I got sleepy and had to turn it off, but I wasn't getting that much out of it. I'd never seen it before. It was on HBO Max, so I thought, hey, I'll try this out. Not very familiar with the Ninjago cartoon series, CGI show or whatever, so I thought, well, I'll watch this and see what this is like. But maybe some of you all are like Ninjago super fans, and you can tell me how that movie is perceived. Or if it's like, is it something that people really like in the Ninjago fan community, or is it something that is a little juvenile? Yeah, I'll tell you what was funny about my Lego Masters experience is I had watched the entire first season, or the biggest part of it, but never watched the finale. So the other night I got on Hulu and I'm like, you know what? Before this new season comes on, I'd better finish this up real quick. So I watched the beginning of the premiere, but I still haven't finished it up yet. So it's definitely something I need to do. I really do enjoy the show, though. It's a lot of fun. I never would have imagined there would be a show quite like it, really. I think it's cool that they're expanding into something like that. It really does lend itself to kind of these challenge shows. I mean, if you can have shows about people baking cakes and decorating them in like a set time limit, Lego is just another expression, another art form that you can use, and it works exactly the same way. However, I want the Lego version of Nailed It, where you get people that don't know anything about Lego, and you just throw them in there and see how awful like their creations are. Would it be not nailed it, bricked it? I'd watch it. I mean, as a matter of fact, I'd probably be. Yeah, man. Let me tell you, it's pretty awesome so far. And check out how tall this thing is already. I mean, geez, it's already huge. I don't know what I was expecting with the skyscraper set, but I guess I wasn't expecting it to be that hardcore. But here it is. And what's funny is that this answers like a need in the Lego city building community, where people have wanted skyscrapers for years in their Lego city. Even your parents are concerned. Well, this is what I always say. If it's something that brings you joy and something that you love, then other people don't have to understand it. As long as you can still pay the bills, as long as you're not breaking the law, it's all good. Whatever that obsession may be, I mean, that's, to me, you only have to please yourself. And Lego has come a long way since being, perceived as mostly a kid's hobby. I mean, you have sets like this that are 18 plus sets, and we're definitely out of the realm of it, Lego just being like this children's thing. It isn't anymore. It just isn't. It is an all ages thing. And the company has been smart about that, and now they are tailoring their product lines to where, hey, here's your 4-year-old line, here's your kids line, here's your adult line, heck, here's your teenager line, young teenager line. Like, you've got the Lego Video, which I'm not ashamed to say I got the CMF series for that, CMF Series 1, because the minifigs are cool. So I could care less about what people think about what I buy or what I like. It mattered a lot more to me, maybe like when I was younger. I could care less as an adult. Everybody who knows me knows that I'm a toy guy. I'm the guy with a YouTube channel about it. So it doesn't matter to me. Sometimes I equate it to other people's hobbies. And I think about how much money that people spend on like boats that are obsessed with fishing. People spend on guns who love guns. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you're a responsible owner. People who enjoy hunting spend a lot of money and a lot of time on that and are gone for, a solid week or two out of the year, go on big trips for it. I have no reservations about enjoying action figures and toys, and I don't have any problem. I think a lot of those mores and social norms are kind of going out the window anyway. I think that toys and Lego are starting to become, actually, honestly, it's more adults, I think, are into physical toys than kids, at least in the action figure world. Most of the people in the action figure aisle that I encounter are grown men like me, and we're all looking for G.I. Joe Classified. We're looking for Star Wars Black Series. Like it doesn't. It, kids are definitely more, I think, digital these days, and I probably would have been too if I'd been raised at this time. But I don't know. I was probably destined to love action figures and Lego and all that. Maybe it was just written into my DNA. My mom, she was still is really a big Barbie collector. So for me, maybe it's just a part of who I am. Maybe collecting was something that I have predisposed to. And it's time to build windows. Somebody call Bill Gates. Don't tell his ex-wife, though. She'll want half the set. A divorce joke and a Lego live stream. Woohoo! All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stay. You know, I was brushing up on my history of Spider-Man Lego sets the other night because I realized I had forgotten a lot of the different waves and things over the years, and I thought, well, I need to kind of make myself abreast of what's come before. Well, I looked. This popular kid in school, the kid has no friend last year. Don't you worry, buddy. School, and the amount of friends you have in school, it seems like a big deal right now. But I assure you, as long as you're true to yourself, you're making good decisions for you, a lot of that really doesn't matter. I have emerged from public school, college, or whatever with approximately probably 2 or 3 good friends, maybe, and that's it. I don't keep up with anybody else. Don't really know much about what's going on with them. Not that I don't love them, but at the time, I remember thinking that it was going to be a bigger deal than it ended up being. And you'll always be surprised by how many people share your interests on something like YouTube rather than sometimes in person. So for all the negativity that the internet has introduced, at least it's found a way for people, like-minded people who like the same thing, to at least appreciate their hobbies together anyway. So that's one way that the internet has united us, I suppose, rather than divide us. Although if I'm going by the Facebook toy groups, it seems like there's so much negativity there that sometimes I wonder. But by and large, people are very nice. Stay. All right, more windows. I love how you can see what I believe is supposed to be a part of the explosion down there from where the Green Goblin is busting through. That is pretty awesome. I know that it is possible to fix the window, and that it has enough pieces to where you can do so without leaving it exploded, as it were, but I don't know. It might be something I do eventually, is fix it back, but I do like the dynamic display of it blowing up. As a display, that's kind of hard to say no to when you're looking at just how much action, just how cool that is. I mean, it's pretty neat. Having to reshuffle a couple of things here that weren't quite working. I think I had a stud oriented the wrong way. Okay, there we go. That's better. This is the first time we've been putting windows together in this like triangular configuration. Before now, it's just always been one on top of the other. And this way it's, I guess it's having to do with them blowing up. So it's something a little different. When they arrest the Green Goblin, that's the charge that's leveled against him. He blew up a window. Property damage. Right. And we build up this corner for some reason with, I guess it's like pieces of glass that are, it's interesting. Not exactly sure what the purpose of that is yet. Guess we'll find out. Okay. Seems like it's kind of off balance right now. So I think these are just being put in place to kind of keep the windows from flexing in and out. just like a real office building. Okay, stay. Other than the window falling over, it's not been too horribly aggravating building this part. Okay, and this completes the frame. That should make it a heck of a lot more stable now too. Okay, so at least now we have the frame that's going to be burst through, I guess that's the right term. Bursted. Right. Then I guess this reinforces the top of that frame. Okay. Looks like we're going to be building some geometry here that really we hadn't done before with these kinds of ridges up here. I like these little humps or little hills here between each one that kind of breaks it up a little bit. Maybe we need some brick-built gargoyles. Maybe those would be more at home in a Gotham City skyscraper. I don't know if people would be as into like Wayne Tower if they came out with something like that. Or like maybe LexCorp's Tower, perhaps. Those are the only kind of skyscrapers I can think of in the DC world. Star Labs, maybe, but none of those are as iconic as the Daily Bugle, even not even really close. If you took Wayne Tower and maybe you made it like very Batman-centric and had like a mini kind of Batman lair, bat lair kind of thing, maybe that would kind of make it more appealing, I think. But honestly, I think people would just be frustrated that they hadn't done an 18+ Batcave at that point. You think that would just be more of like, why did you do this kind of thing? So maybe that's not the right move either. All right, got more of those support beams. And these are surprisingly difficult to get just right. It's like if you don't have the little studs lined up just right on the outside, they have a hard time, but once they're in, they're in. Okay. There's one thing as a builder that this set is teaching me. It's how quickly you can assemble these walls for like a skyscraper type of build. Like, it really has been pretty quick, honestly. It has not at all been what I thought it would be. But that's me as a very novice mock builder. Somebody who's more experienced probably already knows a lot of these methods. Or maybe it's all new. I don't know. Maybe one of you all are a Lego master and can tell me. It certainly seems pretty novel to me, the way they're laying these out, and you're adding the support columns. Seems very original. Okay. Got all those on. Put this to the back a little bit. Looks like we're building one of the columns that are being blown up by the Green Goblin. So this should be interesting. What's funny is we're going to build a column, but I think it's going to angle like way out from the building, like it's being destroyed. All right, we need 4 of these. I'm sure in the comics it has happened with the Green Goblin racing through the front of the Daily Bugle. I can't think of it offhand, of like a specific example, probably from the classic era. It happened. But at the same time, I kind of wonder if this is more or less based on the Raimi films more than it is anything else. Just kind of wonder about that. I mean, there's so much else in this set that just appears to be pure Raimi instead of the comics. As a matter of fact, Marvel Comics even told them that the Daily Bugle sign itself shouldn't be red. It should be yellow if they're going with comic accuracy, and they totally ignored them because they wanted it to match the movie and the way that it was done there. So I do think that this was done more as a tribute to the Raimi films and less as a comic book set. But then again, the minifigs, you would be sure that it was more supposed to be a comic book set, and it is. But I don't know. It definitely feels more like the movie version, I guess. The building feels like the movies, I guess, and the figures feel like the comics, so maybe it's a happy medium. All right, a couple of windows. Yeah, in the movie, it's the Flatiron Building in New York. So it doesn't like the stationary, the colors are correct, but it doesn't even have the same shape. Of course, I think if they were going to do that building, they would need, I think they would need additional copyright clearance to even do that building. So it might be a case of them just saying, let's not worry about it. And it may have a lot to do with how the Daily Bugle is going to be depicted in the new Spider-Man movie, which I'm not 100% sure about what that's going to look like or what that's going to be. So you never know. Guess we'll find out. Oh, I see. So this has like a ball bearing right here, and it just plugs into the slot. And then you can kind of angle it as you wish, just through friction. It just does its own thing. Okay, that's cool. I like that. Nice. I was kind of wondering how they were going to achieve that, and there's my answer. Okay. If you don't want to have to count studs on pieces, then this isn't the set for you. Because in some of these bags, there's a ton of like pieces, but with just different stud lengths. So for me, I can't just look at them by sight. Usually I'm correct, but I've messed up in major ways before by not taking the time to actually count the studs. So, word of warning. All right. Oh, okay. I saw a piece and thought, what on earth? That's because it's in the shared bag of like effects pieces. All right. Been wondering about these things. This is where all your fire effects come in, including this big thing, which I have never had before, a Lego set. I'm sure some of you all have probably had that, but I have not. So I'm not really sure what maybe that's a set, that's a piece that's been around forever and a day, but for me it's kind of new. Okay, so we have our explosion effect there. Oh, cool. So once again, this is another like ball bearing type of thing where it just plugs in there. Ooh, I like that. Neat. Just like it's suspended that way. That's terrific. Just look great in the pictures, so I'm, if the effect is nice enough, it's going to be hard for me to even consider rebuilding it to where it looks complete. I mean, if it's, that dynamic, it's going to be hard to not just say, okay, well, let's keep it that way. All right, and it looks like we're building another piece of this window that's being destroyed by the goblin. There. Two of these. And a couple more windows. those cool fire effects pieces. It's looking cool. Did not expect to be as amused as I am by this section of the build, but here we are. Oh yeah, that's neat. Where you angle the top window there like it's being destroyed. So once again, have the ball bearing connection right here. Plug it in, plug it in. Nobody needed to hear that. Okay. Oh yeah, man, that's cool. You know, I don't think Lego has ever attempted anything quite like this for like an effect like this, like a freestanding explosion like that. I mean, have they? Am I wrong on this? Maybe you guys can tell me below. I'm sure that I'm in the company of people who know far more about Lego history than I do. But I just wonder, have they ever attempted like a freestanding effect that wasn't an action feature? It wasn't, you know, like friction kind of missile or something like that. That it's just like a frozen moment in time. And you never know with these designers, it might have been something they wanted to try for a long time. They finally got a way to integrate it into a set. Now, I do believe that this is the Green Goblin's glider that we're building now. Or as it was called by Bernard the Butler accidentally in the outtakes from Spider-Man 3, the Gilder. I wonder if I'm the only one who remembers this. Maybe somebody else does. But I've laughed uncontrollably at the outtakes of the Green Goblin's butler saying Gilder and messing up his lines in Spider-Man 3. Like, it, in a way, that poor fella, he was such a cool actor. He was so elderly at that point that I sort of even wonder if them having those outtakes on the DVD was even in good taste. Like, I'm willing to bet it wasn't, but you know, eh. I still got a laugh out of it, even if I shouldn't have. Shame on me. I know it was when Bernard started saying, "The Gilder pierced his body." You can hear Sam Raimi or somebody in the background laughing hysterically, being like, it's Glider, it's Glider. The Gilder. Oh my God. I'll stop. I have to stop. This is a neat little build. I'm liking the sand green. Is that the name of this color? I can't get Lego colors straight. Sand green, that's what we'll say. Baby puke green. Maybe that's... no, that's a flame effect, kids. Look at that. Right off the back of a Harley. Or maybe I should say more appropriately what Harley owners think is happening in the back of their motorcycle. I think James Franco gives some of the most meme-worthy acting maybe ever in Spider-Man 3. It was a weird feeling watching the movie when it first came out in theaters, because I knew that I was watching something that was completely like off the rails. And I was really enjoying myself, but maybe Like I was enjoying the movie in spite of myself. I don't know. And just like the crazy stuff with Harry Osborn not knowing who he is and acting so goofy and dancing. Hey Evan, how you doing, man? What was he dancing to? And oh, the twist, right? Yeah, he's dancing Chubby Checker, and him and Mary Jane are cooking. Like goodness gracious. There's something probably more pleasant about that than there should be, actually. When he's dancing to the twist with Mary Jane. At that point, should the audience, like, I think they almost did too good of a job there. You're almost rooting for Harry and Mary Jane to get together. You like forget for a second. Oh wait, yeah, that's not what we're supposed to want. Peter, what about that nice Gwen Stacy? Huh? She's a catch. She's a catch. Wow. Look at how cool that is, huh? Neat. I'm sorry that neat is the only thing I can think to say. I think it deserves a little more than a neat. But that is nice. Really, Evan? Oh man, that's awesome. You're gonna have to, if you have pics to that or something, you may have to put a link to that in the chat so that people can check out your creation. It's something I don't think I possess the skill to do, but kudos to you though for making it happen. That's pretty cool. All right. So it looks like we're building, it's one more support. Let me see. I think it's because the Green Goblin is so close. Let me let the autofocus do its thing. Because he is coming out like way far right now. Let's see here. Maybe this'll. I think it's just the depth. It's having a hard time reconciling that the Green Goblin is really close and the rest of it isn't. How about we? Okay. Maybe that'll help a little. We only have one more little section to build, actually, of this thing. I must have dropped a piece. I've dropped a piece of the gilder. If Bernard is ever going to see this gilder completed, I'm going to find it. The gilder pierced each body. Well, I'm not having any luck for now, and I'll find that piece a little bit later. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, so I'm just going to build on and then locate that in a little while. Oh well, the build goes on. It's a basic piece, so I have a ton extra. That's what happens when you clean in the middle of a build. Tried my best not to accidentally clean something I would need, but anything's possible. Okay. And this is where the rest of our windows come in. This is, of course, the last one of those ball bearing pieces that are just the window exploding. Okay. And for this one, we just attach this same way as the others before. And there we go. Wow. That is a cool effect. Okay. And then looks like all we need to do is attach it to the top, to the front of the building. Let's get it to where we can see it for the moment. I'm just gonna go handheld. Whoa. Cool. All right. So we have our explosion effect right up there. And that is epic. Love it, love it, love it. Fantastic. All right. All right. You guys think we should do another bag? Feeling good. Feeling good. I'm ready. Looks like we're on bag number 12. Well, in a really surprising turn of events, it looks like bag number 12 is completely self-contained. As you guys know, building these sets, usually there's like 2 or 3 different bags of a certain number. Nope, not this time. There is just one bag 12. And of course, inside of it, there's bags, but there aren't several numbered bag 12s. So, kind of unexpected. All right, this appears to be a brand new level. It looks like we do get a minifig in this one. We get Spider, or as I call her, Spider-Gwen. We're sometimes I think I don't give that I don't know, the significance it deserves, that there is such a thing as a Spider-Gwen these days. Because most of my life, Gwen Stacy was like a no-go, because she was one of those characters that, you know, like Uncle Ben, she was supposed to stay dead. But I definitely think that it's been a good thing that we're able to do something really interesting with her. Plus, this costume is to die for. It's great looking. Love it. I feel like in modern comics that they don't feel very confident about their ideas, or they're not really sure how they'll go over. So rather than just introducing something that they'll have to retcon later, it almost seems like they like introducing things as alternate realities first. And then if people like it, then they make it continuity. You guys noticing this trend lately? That seems to be what they're doing. They're saying, okay, well, this is a what if or a one-off, and then based on, you know, reaction or reception, then they bring it around. It's kind of like Damian Wayne Robin and the Grant Morrison stuff. Clearly, oh look, here's my missing piece from earlier. It was under the Sandman. Sandman! I may not believe that you killed Uncle Ben, but you almost killed this build. Give me a second. I'm going to add this real quick. That way it won't bother me for the rest of this. Can't believe it. It was there the whole time. It's like those memes where they're unmasking the bad guy on Scooby-Doo. This time it's going to be Sandman. Maybe it'll be Red Herring from a pup named Scooby-Doo. Any of you guys remember a pup named Scooby-Doo? That was a killer show. Love a pup named Scooby-Doo. A show that probably shouldn't work and was part of that fad of make everything a baby version. One of the most memorable things about a pup named Scooby-Doo is the constant like doo-wop-y music, which they had never tried before with Scooby-Doo stuff. Sometimes I'll just be walking along, and this is a very geeky thing to admit, but I'll just be, in my head, it'll just be Scooby-Doo-Doo-Doo-Doo-Buddy-Doo. Only when I'm solving mysteries, though, which is, of course, an everyday occurrence that cartoons prepared us for and told us would be something you would need to do, like, a lot. And look at Blue's Clues. It's kind of like quicksand. Everybody thought quicksand would be a much, much bigger problem and a much more present danger than it actually ended up being. So I really like the web blast effect here for Ghost Spider, for Spider-Gwen. Look at that. Whoa, it's 3D. Good times. All right, enough messing around. Let's get right to it. So we'll start this off like we do every level, building the floor. You know, I'll tell you something that I'm really pleased about, and that's that LEGO apparently will be relying much less on base plates in the future, as there are rumors that the base plate itself, as we know it anyway, the standard base plate, might be looking at retirement, or LEGO is going to move away from it. I actually think that's a really good thing. And the reason why is because some of these sets that they've done in the past that were like big buildings, they were, you know, there was a base plate every level, you know, a base plate. Every modular section, it's a base plate. And then what you end up with is, it's kind of, the best way I know how to describe it is like warpy, like kind of wobbly. because you've got plastic stretching to the very limits of what it should be able to do, and that floor is just like a big flexing piece of plastic. And what I'm really happy to see is just a real rejection of the base plate model in the Daily Bugle. Sure, there's one at the bottom of the building because, you know, of course there is. But for the levels, they don't play that. It is all this kind of thing where you're building sections, which is 10 times when you have this kind of structure down here. I mean, this is unbelievably strong. It's not going to be warping all over the place. It can hold lots of weight. So I just feel like they're getting smarter about that. And I have no problems with them abandoning the plate. The base plate's quick and probably cheap, but it does not result in structural integrity whatsoever. Something I learned with the Lego Ghostbusters Firehouse. There was not a tremendous amount of structural integrity as you lifted it up and you kind of brought it around. See, like this is very solid once you have all the supports in there. And it's flexible, but it's not just one big like warped piece of plastic that's flexing. So I actually think that's much better. Just my 2 cents there. That's my Lego hot take of the night. All right. Of course, we're familiar with this, where you put the little supports all the way around. And we also know that eventually that means we're going to be putting the other studded support beams on there. It's definitely some samey parts of this build, but as I've said earlier, in earlier volumes of this live stream, I mean, how else are you going to get a consistent like skyscraper structure? You can't reinvent the wheel every single time, or it's going to be like an Ninjago City type of building. It won't be a realistic New York kind of skyscraper. And it definitely has to be. If they had unveiled this and it was like a fantasy building, I mean, I don't think that would have went over well. Like if it was just a totally silly kind of mishmash, like a cutesy kind of thing, I don't think people would have liked that. You know, we know that for years with toy lines, market research is a big thing with children's toys, right? They always talk about kid test groups, you know, that come in and test this and test that. But have you ever wondered about the adult AIM products like this? Clearly, it's an 18+ set, so duh. But seriously though, like, is there an adult like test audience? Do they somehow like go through a committee to get some kind of input, or maybe some, you know, it's just something I wonder about. The equivalent of a Lego shower thought, I guess, but maybe there is something like that. Maybe there's some kind of focus group or focus testing that they do to see what adult fans of Lego are after. I mean, it would be infinitely wise if that is what they did. Well, I thought there was just one bag number 12. Nope. What do you know? I was totally wrong. There's one just sitting over there that was turned over. I do believe that's the only other bag 12. I was completely wrong. I did think it was odd that it was all just in one bag. Okay. I was hoping there was another bag 12 because I couldn't find what I was looking for. There we go. Now we're in business. I don't know if any of the people watching are as old as I am, but in the early 90s, Toy Biz did the Marvel Superheroes line. I'm talking about the very early 90s, before any of the cartoon shows of the 90s. And I had a hard time finding them in places because at that time, Walmart wasn't as much of a toy and action figure juggernaut as they became later. Juggernaut. And I remember one of the only places you could find them with consistency was KB Toy Store, the mall chain of toy stores. And it was the only place I ever saw these. But they made a series of play sets to go with the Toy Biz Marvel Superheroes line. I'm curious if any of you all know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the, I think it was called like the Marvel Tower or something. And in this playset, there was like sections for each of the Marvel heroes. I think there was a section for the Hulk, a section for Captain America, a section for Spider-Man, and wait for it, a section for the Punisher. Clearly a different time, and fast forward 30 years later, and now the Punisher can only be found in an 18-plus toy. That's it. Punisher not being promoted like he was. I remember I saw it and I desperately wanted it as a kid, but did not get it. Probably because I was buying Batman Returns toys. I was already in a collector mindset when I was a kid, though, because I was already mad that I had missed, i.e. not been old enough to even remember seeing a lot of the Batman 1989 toys, and I was already mad that I had missed those. So completist syndrome, completist disorder had already set in on my young and impressionable brain. And if you don't think completist syndrome is a problem, you've never collected action figures and decided you had to have every one. I should start telling people I have completist syndrome to get sympathy. Maybe it should be called Gotta Catch 'em All disorder. It's a mental disorder of your brain. Once you have one toy, you gotta buy all the other ones. I have no idea who that was supposed to be, but it was supposed to be someone. We have this very blue floor here. Almost looks like the Daily Bugle has installed a pool for J. Jonah Jameson only. Robbie Robertson is loud up there every now and then. That's it. Of course, Betty Brant's going to be running back and forth, taking notes to JJ. You know, something I really do appreciate, that they put Betty Brant in this set. And Robbie Robertson, even though he's not exactly the classic version I would have wanted, he's close enough. My advice to Lego in the future would be this, though. If you're going to include characters like Robbie, you might as well do classic versions of them, because I'm here to tell them right now that it's only guys like me who care about the classic versions. We're the only people that are going to be impressed that your minifigure is named Robbie Robertson. Like, we're really the only ones. So you may as well not worry about modernizing the guy, because it will literally make no difference to anybody else. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm about 99.9% sure about that. That Junior ain't gonna be too worried about Robbie. Of course, I know better than saying that like Robbie should come with like a pipe or something, because Robbie Robertson is depicted as mostly smoking his pipe in the old comics, and I know that that's not a thing. Nor would I really want it to be a thing. I'll tell you what I would buy. I would actually buy Popeye sets from Lego. When I was thinking about smoking a pipe there, that's what came to mind, is Popeye the Sailor Man. I really would. I would buy Lego Popeye sets. And if rumors are to be believed, then the Tartakovsky, I think that's how you say his name, guy did Samurai Jack and all that. And he's done many other movies too. They say that his Popeye movie is back in production. And I hope that that's true, because I was heartbroken when that got canned. It was so stupid of them to ever can it in the first place. I'm sorry, but it just was. Because that looked amazing. If you guys haven't looked this up, this test footage, like this test reel for Popeye from several years ago that was released, you need to look this up. It's CGI, but it is so neat. It has been a sore spot for animation fans for years that didn't get made. But they say that they're right back at it, so hope that's true. Fire escape, exactly the same as we've done before. No changes to that so far. It's amazing just how far up the fire escape is going at this point. It's almost weird to see something like a build like that travel so far vertically. Truly, this is... there's never been an official Lego set like this one. There really hasn't been. This is kind of the one and only like this, where you have this big vertical building, skyscraper. There's never been an attempt by Lego to do an out-and-out full-on skyscraper of this size and this magnitude. This is truly, it's substantial. It really is. And good on them for, I don't know, like, it would have been easy for them to have done this, probably easier actually for them to have done this as just like a unbranded, unlicensed, like modular building. But no, they actually chose a famous kind of a well-known fictional landmark to attempt this with, and I say that that's really gutsy. So good on you, Lego. And honestly, I mean, it's business-wise, it's a smart move too. You imagine how many more people are buying the Daily Bugle than if it had just been New York Skyscraper 1. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been big for Lego people, such as myself. Can you imagine how many people this is their first Lego set? And it ain't no joke if it's their first one, because this is pretty advanced. So I hope that people took it to heart about the 18 plus thing. I don't. As far as my opinion on if like it would be impossible for a kid to put this together. For younger kids, yes. Without adult help and major adult help, no child is going to be able to put this together like a little child. But I do think that, 12 and up kind of crew could probably pull this off. I think they might get a little frustrated, a little impatient with some stuff, but maybe that would be okay, possibly. I'll put it like this. I don't think it's inaccessible to older kids. but I definitely think they need to be nearing the middle school kind of age before they would get very much out of putting together more of these complex sets. Of course, I can see myself now as a father. I would probably be buying like impossibly complex 18 plus sets and saying that they're for my 5-year-old or they're for my 6-year-old. When really, it's just a way for me to put it together. But don't tell, all right? It's our secret. Y'all didn't hear that. Got some elevator doors here, and this is a motif we've seen repeated many times. So getting right back into that. That's something I really love, is I love the elevator that goes consistently through this set. Now, I am glad that they did not attempt some kind of schlocky like action feature or something that you can motorize of like an elevator that goes to each floor. I don't care about that. And you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. Like if they did it, you'd never know it, because it's enclosed. It's an enclosed building, so I don't see the value that would bring to the set. Do any of you all have the Lego haunted house? And I don't mean the old haunted house. I mean the new one that they've come up with that's like supposed to be like a carnival ride or a carnival attraction of some sort. Like that, I'm not sure. The one thing that made me iffy about it was just kind of thinking, does it really need this big like feature where it's supposed to have that, like the ride, like the Tower of Terror kind of ride? Like that really kind of put me off of it, really, because I thought so much effort had gone into that. And I might be wrong. I may be regretting it if I don't buy that set, and I'll probably have to, but that's the kind of thing that just I feel like isn't really isn't often aimed at adult fans of Lego, and it's kind of strange when they come into the more complex sets. But I think that, if you motorized it and all that, like some people do, where they put the Lego motor on there like that, maybe that makes it really cool. I just know that it's not really my kind of thing. There's our elevator buttons right there. We have our continuing motif from the other floors. And I'm glad they're not trying to reinvent the wheel every single time on that either, like change up the colors or something, because that wouldn't be realistic whatsoever. So what would be the point in making each one of these floors like a fun house of variety? Now, I will say that I think changing the colors of the floor gives it, and the layouts of each floor, that's what gives it the variety in a realistic way, that each floor would be a little different. I do not think it's important to make it like unrecognizable or like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory in each floor. It doesn't seem important to me. Okay. And just like the other parts, this is where we mount the arrows to show you that yes, the elevator could be going up or it could be going down. Okay. We're going to get some of our supports. We know all about this. Take 6 of them. And one more. Okay. Ready to be attached in the corner. Good. And we're building another level of the fire escape. We're actually almost through this bag here. It's went pretty quickly. At this point, I can almost do these from memory. At least I'm pretty sure I could. Wonder if I can do it. I bet I could. Pretty simple. We just have our flat pieces. I'm doing this from memory so far, so hopefully I'm getting everything right. I will tell you what I need in there is I need the little attachment point. Okay. I forgot about that. So I had to take off the railing because it's really hard to get down to it without that. Okay. Ready to rock. Then I believe that we take this, connect the bar to the ladder. I believe that just goes in there. Then I like for it to go the other way because there's little holes on the backs of the ladders. Okay. And this part I had wrong. So this goes on here. All right. Okay, I think that's ready to be attached. Good deal. I'll show you what I'm doing here. All right. Now we're going to build up this section on top of the elevator. And we build up the sides of the elevator. All right. That goes on the outside. And this goes here. Looks like we're building up a wall on this part. Put 4 of these together. It looks like we are indeed almost done with the bag. Base at the top. I like all the variants and how the wall is assembled. It's not just, you know, these blocks over and over again. Okay, that goes directly beside. Nice. We put our buttons on the elevator. Not buttons, but direction indicators. Directional indicators, that's what we're going to call them. Up and down arrows. Okay. And we're going to line the top of what we built. Looks like we're about done. Ah. Okay, that section's good. All right, that's it for that bag. Looks like the next section is the one that has J. Jonah Jameson and Betty Brant. We have a bag full of windows. And before we sign off, let's go ahead and build J. Jonah Jameson and Betty Brant. We've waited long enough. Something I found myself doing is just, even before coming to a stopping point, just going ahead and building the minifigs. Maybe that's considered cheating, who knows? All right. These already look delightful. Did not expect to ever build a Betty Brant minifig, let me tell you. I'm glad that for Betty, they were a little more considerate about making her more like her classic comic book Silver Age self. Definitely have the smiling head. Because they even gave her the bob haircut. Oh yeah, that's Betty Brant. I suppose they've updated her outfit just a tad here, but that's okay. Oh yeah, perfect. Then with J. Jonah Jameson, I will say that he appears to look way more like the J.K. Simmons Raimi Films version than he does the comic books. I think it's the choice of suit, because this is exactly, with the vest and all that, this is pretty much exactly what J.K. Simmons was wearing in the Raimi films. I'll tell you, I really like this. I've never gotten one before in a Lego set. I'm sure you guys probably have, but it's this tiny little fountain pen that J. Jonah Jameson uses his entire hand to hold. Because when you're a Lego minifigure with just a claw, you have to do that kind of thing. Now, I will say this is really cool. Webbed up mouth. See, he's got Joker hair here. Okay. That seems like a... Get these guys lined up right here. Really, there's not much left. Just There's 16 bags total. And then that's it. So we're on bag 13. And I think we only have a couple more live streams to go, and then the thing is done. So I want to thank everybody for sticking around and having some fun watching me build this thing. It's been great. Thanks for all the great comments and all the great conversations. So, of course, I'll probably be back around tomorrow at some point, and we'll see how much more of this that we can get done. Like I said, probably about 2 more live streams, and we'll have it done. So you all have a great night, and God bless you all. And, of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel and stick around for lots of other great videos. So thank you all so much. Take care.